Thursday, April 6, 1848. We arrived in Independence by steamboat. We're on our way out west to meet our pa in Oregon.
There she goes, back to St. Louis. There's no turning back now.
Yippee! Let's get a wagon and get started!
Oh, Jimmy, Parker, are you sure? It's 2,000 miles to where Pa is, through deserts and mountains.
Yep, and rivers and valleys.
Yeah, and buffaloes and coyotes.
And mountain lions.
And rattlesnakes and...
And brothers. I'm just as brave as you think you are, but this is no joke.
Quit worrying, Cassie. Pa sent a mountain man to guide us.
And we've got to find him. Come on! Next stop, the Oregon Trail!
You got a rough trip ahead of you, partner, but you can do it. Did you hear that these Montgomery children made it all the way to Oregon City? Their story might be of help to you.
April 6, 1848. When Pa broke his leg and couldn't come back from Oregon to fetch us, Ma gathered us close and said it was her dream to join Pa in Oregon. She believed that we had the gumption to get there with the help of this man, Jed Friedman, that Pa was sending to guide us. Then, Ma died.
Cassie, Parker, come on! We've got to find that mountain man Pa wrote us about!
Jimmy, look out!
Looks like you're in a big hurry, son.
Oh, thank you so much. We're,
Looking for somebody to get you to Oregon, right?
That's right. How did you know?
We're looking for a man named Captain Jed Friedman. Do you know him?
Mm-hmm, sure do.
Do you work for him?
That I do, son. Day and night.
Well then, take us to him.
You're already there, Parker.
Hey, how do you know my name?
Parker, he's Jed.
You?
But you're...
One of your pa's best friends. I saved his life on the trail, and he saved mine. When he broke his leg, I promised him I'd get you to Oregon.
Can you hunt buffaloes and kill rattlesnakes?
Why, sure, if I need to.
Wow!
Well, Mr. Friedman?
Captain Jed.
Captain Jed. I guess if Pa sent you, that's good enough for us.
Then let's get our supplies. There's a long way to go, and your pa's are waiting. Follow me.
Good day to you, friend. I'm new here in town. I'm making ready to head out on the trail west. Ah, so you're doing the same. Well, maybe we can link up with the same wagon train. I wouldn't start out with less than, say, 400 pounds of food per person. Of course, how much you can take depends on how big your wagon is and how many draft animals you got.
The merchants here in town offer basic packages of supplies based on the size of one's party and estimated length of journey. Of course, you can shop around on your own or add to the basic set. So, which package would you like?
Excuse me, friend. You appear to be making ready to head out west. Do you know of any people who are still in the process of forming a wagon train? My husband and I, he's off buying supplies, are looking for a nice group of people to join in our move west.
Hello, friend. Say, has your wagon train formed yet? And have you met to form the council that'll provide guidance and governance on your long journey? The bylaws and regulations drawn up by your self-elected council will be your only law on the trail. You got to keep out the bad element and make arrangements for settling disputes. I have here a complete and elegantly scripted constitution, suited to all upright citizens. Drew it up myself. I had a year in law school, you know. If you let me join your wagon train, I'll be glad to offer this here constitution to you free of charge.
You decided yet which kind of draft animals you're going to use to pull your wagon? Well, you can pick oxen, mules, or horses. There's advantages and disadvantages to each. Oxen are cheap and strong, but prone to sickness. Mules cost more, but they's less likely to get sick. They can be stubborn, too. Horses are faster, but weaker. The other downside is they cost a lot, require feed grain, and are attractive to thieves. Well, since you ask, I'd go with oxen. The price is right, and you can't beat 'em for strength. They ain't too bright, but they's good old beasts. Besides, if you get into real dire straits, you can always eat 'em.
Hi there.
Ain't this exciting? All these folks bustling about, getting ready to strike out on the trail. Just speaking for myself, I can't wait. I've spent pretty near all my life so far cooped up in my parents' home back east. But I just got married 4 weeks ago, and now my husband and I are heading out to make a new life for ourselves. I hear disease is the biggest danger on the trail. You gotta stay healthy, eat right, don't push yourself too hard, and get rest when you're sick. And be careful at rivers. Rivers kill almost as many people as disease, but I'm sure we'll do all right.
Oh.
Have you bought the supplies you need yet? If not, you'd best hurry. Some folks don't buy much in the way of food 'cause they figure they can get all they need by hunting. But that ain't so bright. Hunting out west ain't what it used to be. The animals are getting scarcer all the time. Stock up on food before heading out, and not just meat. You need a good diet with variety in order to stay healthy.
Howdy, stranger. It looks like you're fixing to head out west, too. fine opportunity for people with the gumption to do it. We brought a few personal items with us, but we're hoping to buy our foodstuffs and fresh animals here. But I ain't too sure exactly where to go first. Don't devote any great portion of time to packing your wagon till you bring in all your supplies. We're planning to pack up the wagon whilst we're waiting for the train to assemble.
Hi there. Howdy.
Good day to you, friend. I'm new here in town. I'm making ready to head out on the trail west. Ah, so you're doing the same. Well, maybe we can link up with the same wagon train. I wouldn't start out with less than, say, 400 pounds of food per person. Of course, how much you can take depends on how big your wagon is and how many draft animals you got.
Howdy.
Captain Jed, how did the Oregon Trail get started? Were you the first one to go on it?
No, Jimmy, I ain't quite that old. There was lots of folks before me. I guess it really started about 1821 with the Santa Fe Trail. That year, a red-headed Virginian named William Becknell started taking trade goods from Missouri to the town of Santa Fe. That's down south of here in Mexico territory, west of Texas. Traders could get flour, salt, horses, and mules cheap in Mexico. Men were getting rich going back and forth from Mexico to Missouri. That is until the war started with Mexico in 1846. Now, the original starting point of the Santa Fe Trail was the town of Franklin, Missouri, on the north bank of the Missouri River.
That's so boats could bring the trade goods, I betcha.
Right you are, Parker. But by the early 30s, the steamboats could go further upriver. So they needed another starting point that was further west. And that's how the town of Independence got going.
Hey, We came to Independence on a steamboat from St. Louis.
You sure did.
Tell us about traveling to Oregon with Pa.
Well now, in 1836, the Whitmans, Dr. Marcus and his wife and friends, drove the first wagon to Oregon. They set up a mission north on the Columbia River. A couple of real brave women were in that group, Narcissa Whitman and Eliza Spaulding. More folks started traveling the Oregon Trail after that. I led my first wagon train in '43, the one with your pa in it. We even met the Whitmans when we stopped at their mission.
Did Pa meet him too?
Yep, and it won't be long till you'll be meeting your pa again. Now you better get some sleep, 'cause we got a long day tomorrow.
No, more stories!
Don't worry, Jimmy. I got lots of them.
Pardon me, folks. I was wondering whether you've seen this character, Nasty Jack Finley. He's a cattle rustler, horse thief, and all-round troublemaker. He's even been rumored to kill a man, though ain't no proof of it, yet. But he's due for a hanging, that's for sure. I'd recommend you steer clear of him. He can be a mean one. And if you see him, notify the local authorities as quick as you can. Well, good day to you.
Say, you're one of them folks from that wagon train there, ain't you? Where are all you people coming from? I'm trying to get word of my cousin who's supposed to be out on the trail. He came out of Kentucky and was traveling with 2 young'uns. His name's Brown, Elisha Brown. I'd like to tell him about a sadness in his family that happened just a week after he left. Send what mail you can to your family as you travel. Forts are a good place for it. Ain't much else we can do except keep asking if someone's seen our people along the way.
Hello.
Well, I just finished checking my supplies, and I can't say we're really in need of much of anything. I think I'll mosey over to the store they got here and see if there's anything I can use. You might want to check your animals and be sure they're okay. If need be, you might be able to get a few fresh ones here before we move on.
Let's move on.
Howdy. You know, this is my second time out on the trail. Yeah, we started out last year, but didn't get too far. We tried going across the Kansas River when the water was way too high. The wagon overturned in the middle of the river, and we lost everything we had. But we're not giving up. We're trying again. Well, needless to say, I sure ain't gonna try and cross no rivers when they're too rough and high.
Time is wasting. Let's get out. Let's move on.
Let's keep going.
I heard you found a rock here at Alcove engraved with the name of J.F. Reed, May 26, 1846?
Did you know him?
Well, not exactly. I heard of him, though. He and his family were heading to California with the Donner Party. They decided to take the Hastings cutoff and ended up in a heap of trouble.
The Donner Party? I heard that name at the campfire last night. What happened?
The way I heard it, the Donners and several other families left Independence in April 1846 with 20 wagons and near 100 folks. You should have seen one of their wagons, a double-decker with a side entrance. It had spring seats, a sheet iron stove, and a whole library of books. Some folks called it the Pioneer Palace. Rain and floods kept them an extra 5 days at the Big Blue. Then, when they got to Fort Bridget, instead of playing it safe and heading to Fort Hall, some of them took the Hastings cutoff.
Why'd they do that?
Hastings' guidebook claimed it would save them time in about 300 miles. But crossing the Wasatch Mountains was slow. Took 18 days to get 30 miles. Had to ditch that big old Pioneer Palace in the Salt Lake Desert. By the time they got to the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, it was October, and they got caught in an early snowfall.
They must have been plumb tired and starving.
That's right, Cassie. And freezing, too. It was about the worst winter you could imagine. They did things to keep alive that I can't rightly talk about.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that they even...
That's enough, Jimmy.
Some snowshoed out in December, but by the time the relief parties brought the rest out in April of '47, only half of them were left.
Half died? That's sorrowful.
So that means we've got to take the right trails and get to Oregon for the snowfalls. Right, Captain Jed?
Right you are, son. It's life and death out here. The Oregon Trail ain't no picnic.
I say we continue on our way.
I think we ought to keep going.
Let's move on.
Tuesday, May 2nd. We passed through the Narrows today. The trail follows a very narrow path between the Little Blue River on the left and steep bluffs on the right. We'd circled the wagons and I was fixing supper when...
Hey, that almost smells good.
Oh well, sakes alive! Go wash up. It's almost ready. Where's Jimmy?
Probably wandered off with the journal, drawing things like he always does.
That Jimmy. He's hankering to show Pa his sketches when we get to Oregon.
Jimmy! Over here! I found a snake!
Jimmy! Lie still. Jed's coming.
Cassie, it hurts!
Hurry, no time to lose.
Here, my belt.
Tie it on, Parker. Not too tight now.
What's he doing?
Grip this rock, Jimmy. Jed's gotta open the bite and suck out the poison.
Ah! Jimmy'll make it. Won't he, Jed?
I reckon he'll need to ride in the wagon for a spell. But he'll pull through all right.
Oh, thank you, Jed.
But it was close. Too close.
I drew the snake before it bit me. You want to see it?
I think we ought to keep going.
Fine scenery round these parts.
Ain't this a glorious sight? I don't think I've ever seen anything quite so sublime. Just stand here a bit and take in this wonderful scene.
Welcome, folks. Pleased to meet you. Sorry we can't boast much in the way of accommodations. The few quarters here ain't a heap much bigger than a monk's cell. We'd be mighty appreciative of a bit of entertainment in the evening. Most travelers come around to share a bit of news, and there's always somebody who can tell a good tale. You could try that bit of level ground just over yonder for camping.
Looks like as good a place as any to lay by a day and put up some fresh supplies. One of my oxen commenced a favoring a leg yesterday. I'd like the smithy here to take a look at the shoe. If in what I hear is true, this may be the last place we'll find a bit of civilized company for a good long while. Besides, I'm all worn out and could use the rest. My druthers would be to rest here a day or two. No more than that, so's we can stock up on what we need.
Wait a minute. Just let me finish writing this in my diary. There. You know, I don't know what we'd do if it weren't for these forts along the way. It sure is a comfort to me knowing that, even way out here in the wilderness, every now and then there's a place where we can relax a spell. I vote we stay here a couple days and rest up. It won't do any of us no good if we exhaust ourselves.
Hey, what say you we have ourselves a wing-ding tonight? It's been a good long time since we've had a regular fandango. You know what they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And we sure have been working hard out on the trail, haven't we? We should take it easy more, enjoy ourselves. I'm gonna go and see some of the others and see if they don't feel the same way.
I declare, I'm sure glad we made it to this here fort. It ain't exactly civilization, but it's the best we've seen in a good long time. I'm going to see what kind of supplies they have over here in this store or trading post. I hear some of these frontier forts have plenty of provisions, while others ain't got much more than salt pork and rancid flour. If I was you, I'd check my supplies and see if there's anything I need before even thinking about moving on.
They tell me someone in this wagon train is looking for a doctor. Is that true? Well, to be honest with you, I haven't been in regular practice for a number of years, but I'll be right pleased to do what I can. Next time you get to a town with a decent pharmacist, you might want to stock up on some basic medicines. Of course, you might have a pretty good supply already.
I say we continue on our way.
I'm going to St. Louis to have me a look at civilization. The game just ain't so plentiful as it once was, and there's getting to be so many people passing by, I might just as well be in a city. Keep your ears open when you're hunting. One of them big cats pretty near got me last week, So busy thinking about my supper, I almost became supper instead. And trade the Indians for some moccasins. Them shoes of yourn are looking worn.
Back home, I used to enjoy nothing more than going hunting. Now I can't hardly abide it. I'm all wore out from the traveling and take no pleasure in the chase. Last week a group went out a-hunting and didn't get back till quite late. They got lost and only found their way back by the barking of the dogs. Advice? Just follow your nose. If when you keep it pointed in the right direction, you'll accompany it to wherever you're going.
They need rest, fluids, and good food, well salted.
You know, people can die from dysentery. They need to eat bland food and drink lots of fluids.
They say that the earlier you start out on the trail, the less likely people are to get dysentery. Maybe we started a little too late.
You know, people can die from dysentery. They need to...
We should just keep going as we are. They'll get better.
Well, a lot depends on how serious a concussion it is.
We should just keep going as we are. They'll get better.
We're in need of a good rest. I'm plumb wore out from the travel, and the animals are in want of extra feed. Some folks is all worried, afraid we might get caught in the winter snows, but we still ought to rest. Rome wasn't built in a day, and one more day on this trail ain't gonna make a bit of difference. Take the hurry out of your step. We'll get there soon enough. Trip won't get any easier.
My brother commenced farming out west 2 years ago. He said a better wheat crop can't be had. I hear a young child in a train just behind us was killed yesterday when a rifle fired accidentally as someone set it in the wagon. They buried that young'un and covered the grave with stones so as the wolves couldn't reach it. Try not to overextend yourself. If you're constantly going at an arduous pace, you increase your chances of someone getting sick or injured. Trust me, I know.
This hill looks mighty steep. I'd be careful going up there.
Before we decide how or even when to go up this hill, we should consider the weather and the condition of the ground.
Unhitch the animals and drive them up the hill. Then hook them back up to the wagons with these long ropes and chains, and they can pull the wagons up.
I say we continue on our way.
Time is a-wasting. Let's get out.
I say we continue on our way. I say we continue on our way.
Let's keep going.
I say we continue on our way.
I am Chichi Stas. My name is Counting Ku. To you, what more do you want to know? You are traveling the Great Road West. Keep going on your way. My people do not mind you passing through our land, but do not stay here.
Ain't got no need to stop here.
Thursday, June 1st. Today I saw my first Indian. Several braves rode into our camp to trade. I was scared at first, but Captain Jed said we'd be fine if we traded fairly with them. When they were done, Jimmy and I went walking along the river. More Indians! Jimmy, look! The baby! Get away!
You did it, Cassie! You saved the baby! Where do you learn to throw like that?
I've been throwing rocks across the Big Blue while you were laid up with your snake bite. I'll keep this with Ma's necklace. It's beautiful. There's so many beads. I can't wait to show it to Pa.
It always pleases me to see more people moving out west. This'll be a great and grand country someday, you know. Why, expanding the horizons of civilization out here in the wilderness just thrills me to the bone to think on it. Don't be led astray by anyone or anything promising shortcuts or quick fixes. They ain't any. Stay on the main trail and work hard. That's the only sure path.
Hey, what say you we have ourselves a wingding tonight? It's been a good
You know
long
what
time
they
since
say,
we've had a all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
You folks looking to do some trading? Trading is one of the main things people do out here at forts. Why, it's pert near a form of entertainment for some souls. Keep a sharp eye out on your supplies and your money. There's some unscrupulous types around here that wouldn't mind relieving you of some of your possessions. You folks looking to do some trading? Trading is one of the main things people do out here at Fort. You folks looking to do some trading is one of the main things people do out here at forts. You folks looking to do some trading? Trading is one of the main things people do out here at forts. Why?
The trail appears to split here at the fort, but our guidebook says nothing of a fork in the road. There's one path heading north across the North Platte River. The other path goes west. Not right now. In fact, I was going to ask you which road we ought to take.
I hope you don't mind me saying that I've had just about enough of this journey. I've a good mind to stay right here, at least for a week or two, and then turn around and head back home. I've never experienced such troubles as I have on this trail. I figure I'm lucky to still be alive. Only trouble is, if I were to decide to go back, I don't know if I could find anyone to go with me. And I'm not about to travel by myself. Oh, I suppose we should just get on with it. We can rest here a short while, but then let's get going. The sooner we leave, the sooner I can put this part of my life behind me.
How's doing, friends? You must belong to that wagon train that just pulled in. I'm a scout round about these parts. I hire myself out to the army, wagon train surveyors, just about anyone in need of my services. Sorry I can't help you folks right now. I got me a contract and I'm sticking to it. Rest up here for a day or two and restock your supplies. But don't waste too much time. You'd best be heading on your way soon to beat the snows.
This might be a good place to rest a while.
Look at all them carvings on the rock. If that don't beat all. You reckon that's why they call this place Register Rock? Because people register their names on it? What do you say we go on over to the rock and carve our own names on it? Then folks from all over the country will know we were there before them.
Time is a-wasting. Let's get out.
I think we ought to keep going.
I think it's time we be moving on now.
These mosquitoes are driving me crazy. Let's pick up our pace and get away.
Let's keep going.
Time is a-wasting. Let's get out.
I say we continue on our way.
Ah, more wagon people. Are you here to slaughter more buffalo like the group that passed by 4 days ago? I'd never seen such waste. They killed 10 times what they needed for food and left most of the carcasses to rot. Luckily, after the coyotes had finished with them, we gathered the bones to make tools. If you must kill for food, good, but don't kill any more than that. The well-being of our people depends on the buffalo.
I think it's time we be moving on now.
Well, what have we here?
Some more eastern greenhorns trying their luck at crossing the wilderness. I ain't got to say nothing to you if I don't want to. None that I'm prepared to offer you. None that I'm prepared to offer you. Time is wasting. Let's get out.
I think we ought to keep going.
Fine scenery round these parts.
I think it's time we be moving on now.
Tarnation, we can't let a few coughs and sniffles slow us down.
About the only thing you can do for a bad cold is get lots of rest and drink lots of...
We should rest a bit before moving on.
Anybody here ever heard of a fella called Old Gabe?
Is he a trapper friend of yours?
He's a lot more than that, I'll tell you. If you roam the Rocky Mountains trapping like me, you might run into some great mountain men. Joe Meek, Jim Beckworth, Joe Walker, or Major Moses Black Harris. But Old Gabe really stands out. Tall, strong, with long hair and a hooked nose. Named after the angel Gabriel he was. Knows every inch of this land, and the rivers too. Some folks say he was the first white man to see the Great Salt Lake. Thought it was the ocean, it was so salty.
There really is a salt lake out here?
Never seen it, but I heard it's there. Now most Indians respect Old Gabe for his toughness and bravery. He even married an Indian woman from Flatheads. But Gabe's got his enemies though. I heard Dr. Whitman once had to take an arrow out of his back.
Captain Jed, is he still alive?
I believe so, but he's had many a close call. One day, old Gabe and a group of trapper friends came across large grizzly tracks in front of a mountain cave. They were so hungry that one of the trappers suggested that somebody go in the cave and drive the bear out so they could have a real meal. So old Gabe volunteered to go in that cave and send that old Grizz out.
He must have been crazy.
Don't know about that, but I do know he walked right in that cave and struck the bear with his whipping stick. That grizzly made a run for the opening, but then turned right around and headed straight for Gabe. It was dark in the cave and not easy to see, but old Gabe was ready for him. Trappers outside heard a shot, and sure enough, they had bear for dinner that night.
I want to meet old Gabe.
You just may. He built a fort on the Oregon Trail. His real name is Bridger, Jim Bridger.
We're plumb tuckered out. Let's rest here.
We do need a rest. We've been pushing ourselves awfully hard lately.
We're in need of a rest, and this is as good a place as any.
Let's stop here a while and rest.
I think we ought to keep going.
I say we continue on our way.
We need supplies, and Fort Bridger is a lot closer than Fort Hall.
Well, friend, this here is what they call the parting of the ways. A lot of wagon trains split apart here, with folks headed for Oregon going one way, and those headed for California going the other. I don't know about you, but I'm going to California. Now, let's see. I figure the road heading off to the right must be the California route. California's the right place to be, so I reckon I'll go right.
We have plenty of supplies for now. I say we take the short...
Next chance we get, we should get ourselves some canteens or water kegs, so as this won't happen again.
Fort Hall is just a ways up the trail, along the Snake River.
Have you ever been there, Captain Jed?
Many times. Been coming to this spot for years, way before old Nathaniel Wyeth even built a fort here. Yep. Brings to mind the very first rendezvous. Of course, we called them rondes back in 1825. We met near here, at the junction of Henry's Fork and the Green River. Beaver was aplenty, prices high, and no one much bothered us at all. It was Ashley's idea. He didn't want to have to travel so far to trade. One year, he lost a keelboat, sank with $10,000 worth of furs and supplies. Next year, he had trouble with the Arikara Indians, so he spread the word about a central meeting place to trade and called it a rendezvous. That's French, you know. Trappers came from all over.
Indians, too?
You bet. We traded with the Indians for furs, blankets, and other supplies. Many a trapper even traded for an Indian wife.
Really?
That's right, Cassie. I was once married to a Shoshone Indian. But that's another tale. The Rendezvous in 1826 was held around July 4th. You never heard such a ruckus. Guns a-firing, horse racing, gambling, sharpshooting contests, wrestling, and I'd say many a patriotic toast.
Wish I could have been there.
But those days are gone now. Last rendezvous I heard of was in 1840. I miss meeting with trapper friends, old Jed Smith, Grizzly Adams and his trained bear, and of course, Moses Black Harris, best yarn spinner I ever heard. With more and more folks heading west and needing expert guides, seemed the perfect fit for us trappers.
So you became a captain and led our pa out west.
Sure did. Best decision I ever made. Great man, your pa.
It sure makes my heart swell to see all these wagons crossing the country. We're a people on the move, populating a new land. We've been having better luck fishing than hunting. Suits me fine. Those panfish cook a lot quicker and taste fresh. If someone in your party gets sick, it's best to stop and rest a while. They'll be more likely to recover than they would if you keep pushing on. It sure makes my heart swell to see all these wagons crossing and hunting.
We ought to hold a funeral service of some kind. What a shame it is to bury our loved ones out in the wilderness, but it has to be.
Oh, another group of immigrants going west, no? Getting so this country is as crowded as St. Louis. I've lived out here in the wilderness for more than 20 years trapping the beaver. None but to be careful crossing rivers like this. Sometimes they're shallow and don't look like much, but the banks can be steep and the rocks slippery. Maybe there is mud or quicksand. Rivers are the most dangerous thing, far more dangerous than Indians.
I've been cogitating on this, and I think we should wait for the weather and soil to improve before attempting this hill.
Make sure everyone locks their wagon wheels before going down this hill. We don't want any runaway wagons.
I sure would like to stop here for a bit. I could use some fresh supply.
Let's stop here a while. I'd like to see what they have here.
Ain't got no need to stop here.
Fine scenery round these parts.
I say we continue on our way.
Sure is nice to take a rest now and then. My folks figured this journey'd be hard work, but it's been more'n we counted on. One of my regular jobs is to find fuel for the fire. Sometimes it's hard to find enough wood, so I store extra pieces in a box under the wagon. On the prairie, I gathered buffalo chips to burn when there wasn't any wood, and sage works too. Mama says that a lot of folks on the trail wind up getting sick with scurvy, 'cause they ain't been eating enough fruits and vegetables. We have a big keg of pickles and eat 2 of them every week. Mama says that's just enough to keep the scurvy away.
Trail splits just up ahead for those going to California. I got a feeling a lot of folks will be heading that way soon.
How come, Captain Jed?
I heard a rumor at Laramie about someone finding a river of gold nuggets in California. Is that why?
Shh, Parker, not so loud. Seems that in January of this year, 1848, a fella named James Marshall did find some gold nuggets just lying out in plain sight in the American River.
Wow!
He was partners with a man named John Sutter, was building a sawmill in California. Well, old man Sutter knew what would happen if word about the gold got out, so he tried to keep everything quiet.
They found gold just lying in a stream? Seems awful hard to keep something like that a secret.
Yep. Seems a newspaper man, Sam Brennan, got wind of it. And you know what that means. The word started to spread like wildfire.
What's gonna happen?
Well, I don't know for sure, but it's pretty easy to guess. There's gonna be a lot more folks heading west, I tell you. They'll be coming from all over, and in all kinds of ways.
By wagon, train, or ship mostly. Do you think they could ever build a railroad across these mountains?
Don't know much about railroads, but I'd say some people do just about anything for gold. It kinda makes them crazy, you know? There's gonna be a lot of changes out west. You folks are just the beginning.
Welcome, folks. Pleased to meet you. Sorry we can't boast much in the way of accommodations. The few quarters here ain't a heap much mighty bigger appreciative of a bit of entertainment, bit of level ground just over yonder for camp.
With good care, the injured animal may become useful once again.
It's your decision, friend. I trust your judgment.
I don't believe all them wonder stories about how good it is in California. My cousin went to Oregon 2 years ago, and her letter reports that it's the next best thing to paradise.
I had previously planned on going to Oregon, but I've changed my mind. Let's head for California.
It's your decision, friend. I trust your judgment.
Maybe if we wait here, another wagon train with more people will come along to help.
Captain Jed, did you ever have a scruff with the Indians?
A few close calls.
Tell us about them, will ya? What are Indians really like?
First thing you need to know, Jimmy, is that no two people are alike. You've met folks on the trail from Mexico and Ireland. They speak different languages, have different customs, and, well, that goes for Indians, too.
Folks traveling with us are afeard of them. Why aren't you scared?
Trapping, I learned a lot from the Arapaho, Blackfoot, Shoshone, Cheyenne, and Sioux. They're all skilled horsemen and hunters. They live in teepees and move with the buffalo herds. Watching them hunt buffalo, now that was something. They'd set fire to the grass and then drive those critters right off a cliff. Once the kills were made, nothing would go to waste. Favorite parts were the tongues and livers.
Ew!
Then there's the Arikara, Pawnee, and Mandan. They spend part of the year hunting buffalo, but the other part in villages growing crops. The Arikara raised 9 different types of corn.
Tarnation! They're farmers, just like Pa.
That's right. Indian villages I've seen aren't just teepees. They have homes made of reeds and woven mats, earth, or logs. Once, I traveled south and ran into some Hopi Indians. Lived for a spell in a pueblo. That's a house made of mud and rocks.
6 alive, Captain Jed. The Whitmans were killed by the Cayuse Indians last year. Weren't you ever scared of Indians?
I met Dr. Marcus Whitman and his wife. Good folk they were. The Cayuse Indian blamed them for a bout of measles killing their people. Indians want to protect their own just like we do. And if you let them be, they'll do the same for you. They're not all that different from us. You played one of their games back at Fort Laramie.
Hoop and pole! Will you teach us more, Captain Jed?
Better yet, let them teach you more. Folks shouldn't be so afraid of them. They've lived on this land for hundreds of years. There's a lot we can learn from each other.
Hey, wagon people, look here. I have some very good salmon. Maybe you want to trade? My name is Badger Keeper. I was given this name 4 years ago when I found a young badger and raised it as a pet. My father says I should get a new name soon. We could trade. My salmon are large and fresh. I just caught them an hour ago. You have any blankets? My mother would like to have a new blanket.
Hola, habla español? Or do you speak English? Do you want to trade? I am Woman Who Came Back. I was captive of Paiute renegades for many years before I escaped and returned to my Bannock village. The renegades treated me like a slave, but I learned to speak some Spanish while among them. I have dried fish to trade. Dried fish do not taste as good as fresh ones, but they will keep for a long time. I also have moccasins.
I think we have to keep going.
Let's move on.
Fine scenery round these parts.
is wasting. Let's get out.
Good day to you folks. My name is Philip Maddox. I'm an artist with this surveying expedition. The U.S. government has commissioned us to map the land and to bring back some illustrations of the Indians, as well as the plant and animal life hereabouts. Check your supplies often. Can't stress too much the importance of that. And don't waste a whole lot of time hunting, at least if it isn't an emergency. You won't get much, you'll delay your progress, and you risk antagonizing the local Indians.
Fine scenery round these parts.
Time is wasting. Let's get out.
The trail teaches you a hearty appetite. Each day, the bacon, biscuit, and coffee taste just as good as any family feast we had back home. Wood's mighty scarce. We're lucky we've been able to find such things as buffalo chips and sage to burn for our cook fires. Give thanks each day for this fine opportunity to move on to a new land and a new life.
Maybe folks with too much stuff in their wagons ought to lighten their loads before trying to go up this.
Guten Tag. My name is Ilse Weismann. My husband Gustav and I are from Prussia. Gustav was a shoemaker in Berlin, but times are not so good there. In Western America there is free land we hear, so we come here to start a new life. We have been told always to stay on the main trail and to check our supplies often. That sounds like very good advice.
Howdy, name's Austin Billings. I'm traveling with my wife Sophie. We hail from Texas. I bought my way out of slavery working as a part-time cowhand, and Sophie was a free woman who earned a living as a seamstress. We're going west to build a new life. Pretty much like everyone else, I reckon. Some people push themselves too hard 'cause they're afraid of the winter snows. And that's a reasonable fear, but it's just as risky to overexert yourself. We keep a steady pace, no more than that, and make sure to take a day.
Saturday, October 21st. We're in mountain country now. Taking the wagons up the hills is really hard, but it's even more dangerous taking them down.
Okay, men, the ropes are set. Parker, you go on the far side there and try to keep her from tipping over.
Right, Captain Jed.
Be careful, son. Let's go. Easy does it.
Look out! It's tipping over!
No! No!
Run, Parker! You'll be killed!
No! We can't lose the wagon. Get a rope! Get a rope!
You heard what he said. Hurry!
That's it! We got it!
Parker, you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
That was mighty brave, son.
I couldn't let her go. That wagon has everything we own. All that we've got left of Ma. Her pictures and her wedding dress.
Your pa would have been real proud of you.
Thanks, Captain Jed. Thanks.
Hello! 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 Hello!
Let's move on.
I think we ought to keep going.
Howdy, we're having to lighten the load on our wagon. I've carried my mother's framed mirror all the way from home. It's with great effort that I cast off this last gentle reminder of the dear friends and family I've left behind. But our success in reaching the end of the trail is of greater import. None save to do whatever you can to make the work on your animals a little easier. Lighten your load, rest 'em often, take good care of 'em. If you lose your animals, you're in danger of losing your life.
Hello! Hello!
We ought to consider the terrain.
there's anything dangerous up ahead, like narrow canyon trails, we should stop.
I say we continue on our way.
I think it's time we be moving on now.
I don't want to have to travel down that river if and we don't have to.
Take the toll road. I don't care if it does cost $5. Why would anyone needlessly...
These last 100 miles or so to the Willamette Valley are the roughest. Well, either you raft down the swift and turbulent Columbia River, or you drive your wagon over the steep Cascade Mountains on the Barlow Toll Road. The toll road is probably the safest. But if you take the river, I'd recommend hiring someone to help you. Maybe one of them Indian or French guides.
I collect the tolls for the Barlow Road. A bargain at twice the price. Used to be everyone floated the Columbia. Now, with Mr. Barlow's Road, you can drive your wagon right into Oregon City. $5 per wagon, plus 10 cents for each draft animal. Please pay your toll and move on. There's other folks waiting behind you.
Time is a-wasting. Let's get out.
I say we continue on our way.
I think it's time we be moving on now.
I collect the tolls for the Barlow Road. A bargain at twice the price. Please pay your toll and move on. There's other folks waiting behind you.
They say the Barlow Toll Road is right rugged.
These last 100 miles or so to the Willamette Valley. Either you raft down the swift and turbulent... These last 100 miles or so either you raft down the swift and turbulent Columbia River.
Maybe we can set up a windlass and use some ropes to lower our wagons down the hill gradually.
What could possibly go wrong simply going down a hill?
Make sure everyone locks their wagon wheels before going down this hill. We don't want any
Wednesday, October 25th. We're about to see Pa. Oh, I'm so nervous. It's been 4 years. Will we recognize him? Will he recognize us?
Come on, Jenny, into the barn. It's getting cold. Looks like winter's gonna be early this year. If the kids don't make it soon, Jenny, they're gonna get trapped in that snow. I just don't.
Who's there? Good to see you again, Mr. Montgomery.
Jed? Jed! You made it! Do you have the... Parker? Cassie? Jimmy?
Hello, Pa.
Welcome home.
Pa!
Pa!
Pa! We made it, Pa! There were deserts and mountains and Indians and buffaloes, and I got bit by a snake, and I made a picture of it!
And Cassie rescued an Indian woman's baby.
And Parker saved the wagon from crashing down a hill.
You made it! You did it!
You mean Captain Jed did it?
Safe and sound, just like you said.
Jed, I knew you could do it. Thank you. Thank you with all my heart.
You got some real brave pioneers here. And do they have some stories to tell? Stories about the Oregon Trail.